Yeah, we
We in
live.
this thing, man. We in this
We
thing.
live. We
I
live.
want
We
y'all to
live.
imagine, man.
So we late.
Imagine.
We niggas, we late because we niggas because we late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We ghetto for this. I told you somebody said Jackson said Lee ghetto for this.
Hey,
Hey man,
don't forget.
we had to throw this together though. You feel me?
We threw this together, but I could have stayed live for a few more seconds just so people can, you know what I'm saying, know that, you know what I mean, for the way they wasn't just waiting. But listen though, man.
3 people, 3 kids, 2 dogs, 2 different time zones. So we all just trying to make it work. We all just trying to make it work. But we appreciate y'all. Y'all in here. What's popping? What's going on in the comments? Y'all go ahead. You know how we started off. Drop where you from. Drop what you rep.
Rob, where you from, man?
Yeah. Where you at? Where you at?
Hey, and Christian Strickland, do me a favor, folks, and go on and share this on the book. Go on,
Yeah, get
on
that
the book,
shared on
man.
Facebook.
Like,
Shout out.
share, subscribe, do
We
all
got-
those things.
North Carolina in the building.
We got
What's
North
up?
Carolina in this building, man. Hey, I'm curious. What is the people saying in North Carolina about these Patriots? We got Harlem in the building. We got B-More, Eastern Shore,
Alabama,
Maryland.
Pennsylvania, Vegas, Colorado, Virginia, Maryland. Did I say it right? Maryland.
Merlin. Yeah. Yeah.
South
Hey,
Carolina.
it's deep in here.
Man. Shout out
Hey.
to Georgia.
Shout out to Georgia. Shout out to Georgia. We know y'all did y'all thing today. Been doing y'all thing for a while now. Long Beach,
Oh
Boston.
yeah, without a doubt. But ain't it? It's crazy from coast to coast. You feel me? From coast to coast. You know it's big when Democrats taking over the fucking house or really taking over government because now they control the House, the Senate, and the White House,
Yeah.
right? So they about to be running legislation for a little bit, but that's secondary. Like that shit is we talking about that like kinda, you know what I mean? But it's really, you know what I mean? Like the shit that really popped off today, white people showed they ass today, boy.
What's up, he with
They
the
really
scrubs,
showed they
man?
ass today. We gonna
Real
get into
form,
that.
people. Real form. All right. Y'all done drop where y'all from. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? We got y'all. We appreciate y'all being in here, tapping in, waiting on us. We about to go ahead and drop it. You know, every show now starts the same. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cue up that sauce so we can drop it and slide in. Chopped up, never slopped up. This is the chop up.
Oh yeah, we about to get it in. Y'all know how it go. Let's get it.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride. Lit off Henny when I drive. In the city, we gon' slide. Bet I be there pronto.
Yeah, we in here. Let's get it, Lee.
What's up, Lee?
Hey, man, I just want y'all this to imagine. Patriotism is a big thing in 2020 where we should all respect and put America first and have utmost respect for the flag, for law enforcement, for authority, and all the symbols that America has given us.
True.
Now, fast forward to 2021, and the same people that was trying to weaponize patriotism against the black community is now doing what? Having some anti-American ass Confederate flags in the Capitol. Now, I want y'all to just think about this. Angry armed white people go into the Capitol and no law enforcement feels threatened for their life or no shots is fired. So white people can
with rebel
white people, conservative
with
white
rebel
people,
flags,
with rebel flags, and live to tell about it.
And live to tell the story is really what it is. It's beyond me. Okay, real quick. Wait. A lot of these people have come over from the Conscious League, from TikTok, from Instagram. I want to introduce myself real quick. My name is Toya G. If you want to get that out real quick, that way we get to know each other before we get too deep up into it. Demo, political plug, over here in the corner, the other side of this nice little triad. We want to get y'all acclimated before we get too deep into it because y'all got to follow us. We have conversations like this all the time. So the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube, you need to be tapped in at the Top Up Show. That's all I want to get out there. It's crazy. Patriotism is on the line. It's at stake right now. Now, before we get too deep into it, I want to break down the facts. Here's what we know about what happened today, January 6, 2021, a date that I literally heard Chuck Schumer say.
Write it down.
Write it down. Infamy. Right?
Write it down.
It's an historic day that we're a part of. So I know it kind of came and crept up on the top of a whole different day. We were celebrating Stacey Abrams now.
Right.
We're gonna do it academically. Stacey Abrams et al. For all the work they were doing down in Georgia. That's how we started today. But based on what has taken place, and I can't wait to see what they call it. right? You know, every historical event gets a little jazzy name, and this one is gonna get a name. I wonder what they're gonna call it. I've been trying to look out for that. But
we have some ideas. The
mayonnaise coup.
We're gonna talk about those in a minute. But on this day in American history, at the Capitol on Capitol Hill in the Capitol building, 2 explosive devices were found. Both of those were disabled. Many people were injured on this particular day, either by hand-to-hand combat, by some type of lethal weaponry, or by each other, right? Just kind of scrambling to get out of here and do whatever. One person has died today. That person's name is Roberta Paulson. She was one of the aggressors, agitators. I forget there are a bunch of words that are trying to call them that is not protesters. So she was one of the individuals who went in and stormed it. And I saw on Twitter, and I haven't confirmed this, I could be wrong, so correct me if I am, but that she might have been like 16. So that's also wild as hell. But lastly, that based on Trump's tweets about the incident, that Donald Trump his Twitter has been locked for the next 12 hours. Right? I think he might be 11 hours. He might be an hour in at this point. So I think he got like
the president.
11 more left.
His Twitter is locked.
His Twitter is locked. He cannot communicate with people. And they said if he violate one more time, they're taking his shit. Period. And so
the president is locked on Twitter.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He basically has incited it. A lot of these issues, he has both done everything from, verbally saying, I love you, we support you, this, and that, calling them protesters, telling them to go home safe, this, that, and the other. His Facebook has also been under the same terms and conditions, but they taking him out of there. Now, the last thing I want to tell y'all about how historically relevant this is this is mind-blowing, and it's jaw-dropping, but it's not unique. However, there's been a long time since this happened. This has not happened. The Capitol building has not been breached since 1812, since the War of 1812, when they were fighting over 2 things you may be familiar with that are relevant for about this time of year. Those things are the Electoral College and the creation of the Senate. So, as much as things change, they stay the same. It's crazy how history repeats itself, but here we are, January 6th, 2000. Somebody said today is actually December 37th. 2020, and I'm kind of compelled.
That's a good one.
To agree with them that this just might be December 37, 2020. It's looking crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is the appropriate way for 2021 to start. This is definitely and I want to be clear though. I think the outrage that we are seeing from the media and from a lot of the institutions, we like people that look like me really shouldn't have any type of outrage. This is just one of those things of like what how they say time makes fools of us all. Like all this been is like less than 6 months or a little over, right? When we had all of the protests that was happening, whether it was for George Floyd, whether it was Breonna Taylor, for whoever else, right? It ain't really been that long, and for us, it was this question of, well, why would you tear up your own stuff? Why would you tear up what's important to you? That's bad for your community. That makes you a savage.
Yeah.
You should be put down like a rabid dog. You tore up your CVS.
Sounds familiar.
You tore up your CVS, so you should be put down like a rabid dog. These motherfuckers then tore
CVS
up the
obviously
government.
values more than the Capitol, obviously. CVS obviously matters more.
Bro, they tore up the government, stormed it. If we was talking about any other group of people storming not just any government building, right? Like not just any government building, storming the fucking Capitol is an act of war.
Y'all see, look, you know what I thought about when this happened? I can't remember whether it was White House Down or the other movie that was just like it, but y'all remember a couple years ago when it was like 2 movies out. One had Jamie Foxx in them, one had Channing Tatum in them. Y'all drop the name of the movies in the comments because they on Netflix right now. Where the White House was overtaken by people. And I was like, this is some shit off the movie that was supposed to happen by the others. The people who we've easternized, the people who we've turned into tail.
Right.
Olympus and Scotland was one of them, and White House was the other one. And I was
the TV terrorists. And look, Billy Bob and them.
Billy Bob.
They did it. They did it with flags. They ain't even need in all the movies, it's all coordinated. You know what I'm saying? Like it be niggas with walkie-talkies and they all connected and they pull off this one beautiful scene where like months of planning come together and then boom, they took over the White House. Movie starts. Hicks from Nebraska did this.
Yeah, they did it. They pulled out.
Like, yo, really? Like that? Like this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And as a brother, I'm telling you, as a brother, I'm looking at whiteness and I'm like, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Because this ain't nothing but this is y'all. This is y'all own people.
But there's no
this
shame.
Is the shit that you've empowered.
There's no
Nobody saying white on white crime.
White on white crime. That's exactly what this is. The best way to sum it up. What was you saying, Toya?
Well, no, I mean, there is no shame when the depravity is incessant. It's intrinsic to who you are. So how can you be shameful? You given platforms to do it. And speaking of platforms to do it, right? We got to get into this. We've been asking the question. The question has been how? How does this happen? How does such a thing occur? And I see Ethereal Beauty in the comments say, hey, don't forget to show the clip of, and that's what we're about to, because one of my favorite tweets I've been seeing, I know we've been seeing a lot of great tweets, but one of my favorite ones has been the police and the rioters have been kind of like Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. You never see them in the same place at one time. Why is that? It's because they're the same damn thing. So the plug is pulling up a video. If y'all haven't seen this video yet, it's about to jack y'all up.
Hey,
this is a video.
Oh my God.
This is a video showing y'all how they even got in close to one of the most securitized places on the planet. Y'all gotta realize, DC is one of the most securitized places on the planet. A black woman was killed because she was having a mental health episode and pulled up with a child in the back, with a child in the car, and got shot 5 times. So
because she was having a mental health episode, yeah.
But if y'all wondering,
before you play it, I want to be this petty real fast. Y'all know education is elevation. The word I'm about to define right now is cahoots. Right now, we're about to see an illustration of what we call the cahoots. You know what I'm saying? And for y'all that's unfamiliar with that term, you know what I mean? I know some people might not be familiar with it. You feel me? Cahoots, you know, it is the meaning of cahoots is when working together or making plans together in secret.
For all of my niggas out there, that's when your grandma used to say, "Hey, they thick as thieves." Hey, thick as thieves.
Cohort also is informal. It means working together or making plans together in secret. I think those two are in cahoots. You know, usually with he who is robbed by a man who is in cahoots. So it's usually like somebody that was working for the gas station is in cahoots with the person that's robbing it. And both of them is secretly down what's going on. I'm going to shut up now. And I'm going to play this video. And just to keep that in mind, the vocabulary word for tonight is cahoots.
Now we got some more vocab for them.
Police are squabbling with protesters.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
And they just reached the Capitol again.
Let it play again.
Run it back. I want y'all to see, just really quick.
Pay attention. Don't even what's going on.
Look at where it's saying the cops on the jacket, where it say Capitol Police, right? The people we were supposed to be feeling sorry for because they was being overran, right? They was unprepared. Let's see how they handle this situation one more time.
Police are squabbling.
Y'all see that? That say U.S. Capitol Police directing motherfuckers.
I'm get my glasses. I'm squinting too much.
Yeah, they're directing him. He's like, yeah, let him on in. They're walking backwards. You see, look at his posture. He's moving in a direction that's allowing, not attempting to force this from happening. Let's go.
With protesters.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Right.
Hey, I just want to say very simplistically that black people have been killed for significantly less.
Significantly less.
Now, I want to name a whole bunch of names that were doing non-violent, victimless acts, and police officers were able to almost inscribe monstrosity onto niggas' bodies and made it like, nigga, I'm scared of you. These motherfuckers got guns, and the police, law enforcement does not feel no fear for their life at all.
Now, and I also want to point out, this man clearly, the nigga that looked like he just woke up, he ain't supposed to be right there, no way.
He ain't supposed to be right. He know about it's literally cahoots.
He ain't supposed to be right there, no way.
The area recording because he know about to happen.
Yeah. And how does this turn out?
And they just reached the Capitol again.
Let's watch this. Let's watch this one more time.
One more time. Let it play all the way through.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go. And they just breached the Capitol again. Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
This nigga is giving directions like they're moving.
Literally, dog.
And they just breached the Capitol again.
And
Police are squabbling with protesters.
But I'm just thinking about it, like, literally, we get justified death for not conforming. And it's thinking about like what all the laws you did not conform to that's not justifying your death. Mute. You on mute.
Nah, I'm getting breaking news. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just coming in. Mike Pence has changed his background on Twitter to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Shut the Y'all realize this is the same Mike Pence who, because this nigga would not call in the National Guard, the president, he was like, nigga, you're bugging. And he's the one who called in the National Guard to DC. The fact that he's like, nigga, let it go. LIG, Craig.
Yo, LIG, petty. And it's some claims that I ain't really checking out.
Jared said he also unfollowed Trump.
Unfollowed Trump.
He definitely
changed his background and unfollowed Trump. He's still his vice president, y'all. They still got a couple more days of this relationship to go.
Where do we live right now, man?
Oh, wow.
Let me real quick. I want to drop some, we're teachers, we're instructors, we're students of life, we're professors, we're all of those things. So I want to academicize this moment by figuring out or playing the game. What the fuck do we call this? There are a couple options. There are a couple names. There are a couple definitions being floated around. So I want to make sure that we have it right, because we all agree that we're calling this what do we say we're calling it? The coup the color of mayonnaise.
Coup the color of mayonnaise.
Coup the color of mayonnaise.
Yes.
2 Chainz for that bar.
Well, hey, I was thinking of being petty with the Kanye West. Mayonnaise color beans. I push Miracle Whips. He's like, hey, that's a mayonnaise color coup.
Yeah,
it's a mayonnaise color. Is what we're going through. A lot of people say, what is coup? How do you spell it? Like coochie coochie coup? No, not like that, right? Coup is spelled C-O-U-P. C-O-U-P. And a coup is defined as a sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from a government. So if you're wondering why people are calling it a coup, what is that? A coup, C-O-U-P, is a sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from a government. But people have also been calling this an insurrection. Now, insurrection has a short definition, but it also has a long definition because the word insurrection is found in the Constitution over 20 times, right? So I want to make sure we're clear about what insurrection means, because if they use that phrase so much, we want to know specifically what the framers of the Constitution meant when they said. And insurrection
education is elevation, y'all.
Yeah. An insurrection is the act or an instance of revolting, especially violently, against civil or political authority or against an established government. Also, the crime of inciting or engaging in such revolt, whoever incites, sets afoot, assists, or engages in Donald Trump, any rebellion or against the authority of the United States. That nigga is a part and implicated in an insurrection. But we'll continue, because even outside of insurrection, people have called this domestic terrorism. And that's the term I'm a little bit more comfortable with using, but we should be precise about the definition of domestic terrorism so we understand what this implies. Domestic terrorism is the committing of terrorist acts in the perpetrator's own country against their fellow citizens. Domestic terrorism plagued the country during a time of high political tension. So that would be an example of contextualizing that phrase. My dog does not like domestic terrorism.
Me either, Journey. Me either.
You know what I'm saying? And the last phrase that a lot of people would use to describe or explain what is happening is anarchy. The phrase anarchy, or the term anarchy, is defined as a state of disorder due to absence or non-recognition of authority. So white people, not specifically those white people, are in a state of anarchy. Not all white people, but those white people.
But look, and then they got they call Antifa the anarchists. The motherfuckers that's actually taking over the government. And what's even more wild, they trying to say that this is actually Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters.
And the white BLM supporters dressed as Trump supporters.
Hold on, wait, how? Well, you said what? White BLM supporters?
Yes.
If you go to TikTok right now and you see some of the bigger conservative content creators, they're literally creating the narrative that there are BLM supporters dressed as Trump supporters doing this to make Trump supporters look bad. On my mama.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
On my mama. Like literally, it's like talking about like.
I wish I could be the emoji with the mushroom bomb on the top.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, that they would even push it that far, but I mean, I think we've been having this conversation about the police allowing this and the the role that plays. And when you look at those definitions, when you talk about like why it's not being seen as an insurrection and why it's not being seen as a coup and why the government isn't responding like it would if those terms were being used legally, and that's because of who's performing it. We know that it's not the actions that are criminalized, it's the people. We know that if these were black protesters, I mean, if you juxtapose how well prepared Washington was when Black Lives Matter was protesting, or like anywhere, right? Like they already had the National Guard stationed. They were already there.
Preemptively positioned.
So here we are. These people are saying that they're specifically there to upset this idea that Donald Trump should be president, right? To upset the electoral process. They've said this. Think about that. Niggas was just saying Black Lives Matter. They're saying we're here to upset the process. Niggas got hoses, dogs. Well, not hoses. Tear gas, rubber bullets, batons, and shields. But for whatever reason, the people that was there to actually upset what they call the process wasn't a threat. And that's because of what they look like.
Too. I want to just ask what you just said. Said that it's not the actions that's criminalized, it's the people that's criminalized.
Yeah.
The fact that we seen that preemptively they was able to deploy the National Guard and militarize police officers and rubber bullets and all that shit, but they respect the humanity of the people that's doing what they're doing in the Capitol right now. What I know is that when I turned on the Fox News, because I like to flip through, because to me it's kind of polarizing to see CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC cover the same exact damn thing. And there's literally three different perspectives, three different narratives. The fact that Fox News called these people fine people that are just fed up, the same Fox News that call niggas thugs and looters and literally said we deserve to get shot down where we at, and it's like, what?
But and
that's where the hypocrisy get crazy.
It's hypocrisy, but I think, just the shock in all of this. Me and Christopher were talking about some of this earlier. Christopher says in the comments, let's not forget let's not forget that DC didn't get a whole ass postcard detailing this coup back in October. And so a lot of this shit is writing on the walls, right? When we saw the governor of Minnesota attempted when they tried to kidnap her, what you thought it was a game? You thought it was for play?
It was the same people.
When you saw
the same people,
we literally talked about it and watched conservatives or whatever Trump supporters sit outside of these election polling places when the votes was happening, threatening and praying and speaking in tongues and tripping and wilding and ready to they've had months. They've had time to then orchestrate all of that energy, all of those endeavors into making moves. Michigan, Jaleesa, thank you. To make moves.
Can we add to the fact that people were sent bombs? The Obamas were sent bombs.
The RNC
as well. The DNC was sent bombs. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we talk about that too? You feel me? I mean, there have been acts of domestic terror that have played out under the banner of "Make America Great Again," Trump support terrorism.
And I'm just giving recent examples. They said that Kamala and Joe Biden gonna have to have that inauguration on a Zoom in a bunker.
On Zoom or behind some bulletproof ink.
Somebody said on Zoom with DocuSign. Like we're gonna email it. Y'all do put the digital signature on there and we'll call it even. We'll call it good.
Nah, and now tell you, because this is your wheelhouse, right? This is master's communication makes you a master of communication.
I'm a rhetorician, actually.
Okay. The way that the conversation takes place across, you know what I'm saying, different spectrums, right? What is the significance of how it's normalized in the larger sectors of the people that it don't really impact like that, right? Like, for example, like when this type of shit gets like starts to pop off, right? Because clearly people threatening violence and like not really blowing shit up like they trying to don't really have the impact that they wanted to. So if we at the point where all right, now they rushing the shit and it's still niggas that sitting there like, well, you know, that's a thing, right? Like it's you know what I'm saying? Like they're just upset. You feel me? Like how does that play in normalizing that type of shit? Even though it's Fox News, right? Even though people don't take it serious, but how does that play in normalizing that across a larger swath of society?
Okay, I want to make sure I understand the question. There are news outlets like Fox News who have looked at what they said and said, "Oh, instead of calling them anarchists, instead of calling them terrorists, instead of calling them insurrectioners, they're disgruntled citizens." And your question,
but even MSNBC goes as far as to say they'll say they're rioters, right? Putting them on the same level as Black Lives Matter protesters. But won't call them terrorists, like as people who are actually attacking the government, right? That type of normalization. So like that. I mean, I know it's existing on the spectrum, but that's what I mean though. Like how it translates.
That type of like rhetorical normalization, right? And when we talk about rhetoric, I want to be clear about that because
rhetorical normalization, yeah.
When we throw around the word rhetoric, a lot of times what we mean is just the words we say. But rhetoric is a particular way that words are created and are utilized to respond to a particular instance, right? So we have to be more conscious about the words and about the communication, about how things are communicated as a result of an instance. And so I say that to say that in communication scholarship, we look at events like that and see the normalization of that language. And what it does is it makes things debatable socially that should not be. Right. So when we have certain language or we use certain language to describe shit, or we allow some language to be used over here, but then we have credible news sources that use other language over there, we end up making shit that should be objectively understood, interpreted, and communicated in a certain way. Now, this is where we create the prism where everybody
give legitimacy to it. We give legitimacy and credence to it.
Period. You know what I'm saying? And so as soon as you legitimize something, all it takes is a couple of people to echo those sentiments. And then all of a sudden, well, they may have a point and we have to leave space for that. And this is about objectivity. And if we're going to be objective and not subjective, we have to leave space for that bullshit when that bullshit should have never existed in the first place. This happens when we are in a society that refuses to be on the same page about the bullshit that is afoot, the fuckery that is afoot when it is afoot. And that is an example of what we've called a coup. Insurrection and domestic. Those are synonyms for the same thing. As long as you're not saying some shit like these are disgruntled citizens or upset, like that's when you start really playing with history. That's when the way that we communicate and talk about reality, discourse, reality, the way we talk about shit makes it real. That's when we start to get into a really sticky position where now we've made real and lessened the impact of these really fucked up people doing something really trash.
Hey, you see this, Sue? They say, can we touch on Miss Ilhan Omar is writing up the impeachment form as we speak to get Trump before his time 2 weeks? Like, y'all finna get this man.
Shout out to Representative Cory Bush, newly inaugurated representative Cory Bush from the state of Missouri. She represents St. Louis, but who was also a part of that trio, that group of people who was working to do the impeachment and push it forward. These black women and these women of color, they're not playing no more. They tied.
And
made me think of real fast. It made me think of in debate when we talk about codified language and how I almost thinking about me. Well, I think Damo, you had cut this foot for me and Rashid when we was debating about. I think it was you. I can't remember if it was you or Kane, but the anti-blackness law came and literally about how there are certain things that's codified within the law. And I think that when Toya talks about this word language, when I'm talking about CNN, Fox News, MSNBC being able to use completely different language to construct different narratives, talking about the same situation, this is literally how we're getting at about how things are codified within the law. So it's like if you automatically orient towards a person as a looter We know there's a particular legal implication that's about somebody that's looting. But a disgruntled citizen has a different orientation when it comes to the law. So we see how, in terms of language and how we identify things, how we define things, Huey P. Newton said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. We see how the phenomenon of these white folks getting defined, how it allows for that phenomenon to be desired, to be defined, to make act in a desired manner. So we shouldn't call them insurrectioners. We shouldn't call them people like Fox News are giving them humanization, giving them civility still. They are civilians, they're citizens, disgruntled. Like, nah, they being uncivil, they're being inhumane, they're being unethical, they're being
seditious. The language actually, like when you look in the Constitution, the language is seditious. This was what happened today was an act of sedition.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and what's crazy, and the reason why I wanted to tell you to break down the normalization of it is because right now they're going through the speeches on confirming the electors. You got both Democrats and Republicans that are condemning the idea that we should challenge the electors, right? But what I find more problematic is that it's that easy to get back to business as usual when whiteness becomes overly violent.
Well, I'll tell you this, because it can be read two ways, right? I looked at that and I was like, is it wild as hell that they went back and got back to business the way that they did? But you know what? They cannot be allowed to do. They dropped the ball and took recesses and breaks all throughout this pandemic when they asked it should have been right in there laboring and tearing for the American people. And so I think they had a point at this stage where
ain't no more breaks, man.
And it's breaking down like this. You gonna go home?
Ain't no breaks.
You're going home?
Ain't no breaks, man. Use them all. Use all your sick days up. Use all your vacation days up.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think for the sake and the strength, the foundation of this country that is so fragile and at stake right now, the last logical.
It can do cut both ways though, because I'm gonna think about this: everything we've invested in politics in terms of making sure we go to the polls, not only for the presidential election but for the Senate runoff in Georgia. We did that to make sure the system is able to do what? Run business as usual, but able to do it a little bit better. So think about, because right now, all of us in America is watching what's going on in DC. That means everybody in the world, ultimately, one way or another, is watching what's going on in DC. What message does it send to the rest of the world?
Because that doesn't happen here.
And that's
that doesn't happen here.
With hoodies and Confederate flags, and you know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, but like, go ahead, Toya.
Well,
I'll say this. Go ahead. I'll say this.
You go ahead, Damo. You go ahead.
Well, not because my thing is, like, that's something you see in what you consider like a third world country.
Exactly.
Right? These are the signs of a underdeveloped. Let's not use the language of the colonizer. Or
they on this
or actually like uncolonized. Let's not even call them underdeveloped. Let's call them uncolonized. I like
that even more.
Yeah. The places who've escaped colonization, right? You see aspects of people rising up, and these are typically the signs of a collapsing democracy, right? There is no other insurrection amongst people other than what you see out of the Trump cult. This isn't a broader, because like you see it and you would think like, okay, this is an example of what's happening to this democracy, but not really. Because when you see that you've had the most people voting ever, you feel me? That means that civic engagement means that democracy is thriving. Like when a lot of people are engaged in the political process, when you see transitions of, like, for example, what happened in even though Ohio, which was considered a Democratic stronghold, is like flip red. You got Georgia, which is blue, or it's purple, right? But I mean, you got two Democratic senators from the state of Georgia right now. I think probably the last time that shit happened, they was Dixiecrats, so they was both probably racist in the motherfucker. But it's a brother and John Ossoff. I'll say that. You feel me? It's them two. And so to see this is confusing, because on one hand you'll look and say, this is a prime example of a democracy that's collapsing. But then when you look at the impact of everything outside of Trump land, it's like a reformation, right? It's fixing itself, or that's how it will work. And so the shit is actually extremely odd Yeah, I mean, and which makes it even more criminal in how they approach the shit.
One of the things I was talking with about Christopher earlier, I got on his live or whatever, and it was on the gram, and I pointed out that as unique and peculiar and anomalistic, right, that this is, it is as much kind of logical because it speaks to a lot of the privilege that we, even as Black Americans, have in relationship to other instabilities in other nations, right? We went through a pocket of time or tried to ride this wave of privilege that was like, oh, 2020 was a crazy one, or even the last 4 years were really wild. Something's going to change, transition of power happens and shit goes away, or the new year happens and then things will change. And slowly but surely, we are starting to experience what other nations who find themselves in the global South, or somebody said, Emmer said, overexploited countries are starting to experience every single day, which is years and years and years of unrest and change and collapse and rebuild and questionable leadership and people getting pushed out and another coup and this, that, and the other. And it's so wild for the youngest democracy, the youngest nation in the world, one of the youngest nations, if not the youngest nation in the world, to finally have a taste of what it looks like when all these millions and millions and billions of people who live in this country are waking up. They tap back into how to what it looks like to run a country, and so it's wild. Like, it's interesting to watch.
We did have another clip. We did have another clip that I wanted to transition into. And this is an interesting juxtaposition, given how it was Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. And remember, a common theme in this experience, because George spoke on this a lot on TikTok. I mean, on his social media in general. But that conversation clashing, how it wasn't really real. Well, like I said, how time makes fools of us all. This is all we got to take. This is all we got to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Right here, let me pull this up, just so we can get a better understanding. Now, shout out. I'm sharing this on. Actually, this is George's debate partners. One of George's debate partners, Perfect Prophet. Y'all follow him on Instagram. Rashid Campbell, one half of the great Oklahoma CL debate team. Them niggas was alright. They was cool. But what he shared is we're gonna show how that the Trump associating themselves with Blue Lives Matter was all bullshit and really just an opportunity to be antagonistic towards Black Lives Matter. Because let's see how they treat Blue Lives.
I want to intervene in something real quick. Lacey in the comments talking about picking up a Newport. It ain't that stressful. Okay, step away. Step away. Let's stay focused. So waking up on eggs. I'm 2 seconds away from grabbing Newport. These people ain't listen. This joy I have.
They're not worth it. We should be laughing.
Wait. This joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. Okay,
that's take it away.
I want to send you home with. So you put down that Newport. You step away. Play the video.
Let's get into it. Shout out to the boy Sheedy. Away from the Newport.
Second floor.
All right, so they didn't attack the police officers, so we'll give them that. But what does it mean to stand for law and order and be a law and order president and that be a part of what you call yourself and literally have no respect for the commands of a police officer? Now, remember what we've been hearing, because I really want y'all in on this. What we've been hearing for I don't know how long is all you had to do was follow their commands.
The irony.
All you got to do is listen. Just do what they tell you to do, bruh. Now let's please, when George speaks of the irony, let it not be lost on the fact that not just that that just the commands are being completely ignored, but this is a white man chasing a black police officer.
These are white men chasing
the optics of it all. It's like almost to me, it's like as a person that's always given intersectional analysis, think of the intersections of Blue Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter and being a police officer in this particular situation. And it's like, are they chasing him because he's black? Are they chasing him because he's a cop? Is it a little bit of both? What is it? You know what I'm saying?
Because real quick, Toya, as we analyze this, I want to reshare it, but I'm gonna turn the sound off because I wanted to keep playing. I wanted to keep playing as we break it down because I want y'all to see retreating.
Somebody said that. Somebody said, is this today?
It's today.
It's today. That was a few hours ago.
Retreating is an option. All right, retreating is an option. Go ahead and continue what you were saying, though, Toya. Y'all take a look at that. Go ahead, Toya.
Well, I think one, we question whether or not he was being two things. One, like are these criticisms? I mean, is this frustration coming from them because he's a cop or because he's black? You better believe, just like we live intersectional lives, we have intersectional oppressions. And so his ass ain't no fun when that rabbit got that gun. And when you a nigga and the niggas, don't forget how this day started. This was the second thing. Don't forget how the day started. We started championing black people, championing the black people who showed up in the state of Georgia, and particularly a black woman amongst other black women who showed up and showed out for these elections. And so you don't think they had their antagonism weedies up this morning? They don't, taking in all those images of what's really another instance of what's really going to push this whole transition of power over the brink. And then to see his ass being a police officer, like all of that stuff plays together. It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't just, all of it is part and parcel with the intersectional anger, the intersectional oppression they want to inflict on this person who is sitting at the center. That's why you can get mad at like women cops, right? And they get treated very differently by people who have a different approach to disrespecting cops who are on the job that are women than they do men. It's because the misogyny wrapped up in the disrespect is what they end up getting served. And so Noel says, saw a tweet. Is it back the blue or fuck the cops? It can't be both. Because if it is, that's total hypocrisy. And I think that is 1000% true. Like it's wild.
Yo, and what fucked me up about the whole shit is, this is an example of when they say that whiteness or white supremacy or white privilege doesn't exist, right? It's not that we actually can look at the institutional examples of how bad black people have it to say like y'all don't got it like that, because immediately what people go to is, well, we had to struggle this way and we had to struggle that way, and that's fair, right? It's these examples. It's the fearlessness in the face of the law that's an example of white privilege. The caucasity associated with not only defying the law, but on the most sacred ground of American society, and that is the fucking United States federal government. On the floor, in the
Capitol,
in the congressional building. Like Toya pointed out, there are movies about the shit that happened today, and it ain't never white folk. It's always brown. I mean, it may be a Russian. Russians be trying to take over the government. They do create. That's another type of white people, but that's another conversation.
Those are the brown white people.
One thing, real as we tie together, because this is some shit from a movie, right? This is something that, and what we always say, one of my favorite phrases is truth is stranger than fiction, right? So the shit that we experience most of the time couldn't be written up, couldn't have been thunk up, plotted, or planned. But when I talk about, kind of the shit that stretches the imagination, we also talk about things that you think is in our past. And we, as Miko Asia pointed out in the comments, a reminder that shit that we think is in our past that we would never re-actualize today, we will. Because these people can't seem to keep nooses out of their hands. What the fuck was the point of bringing a noose
in 2021 to the nation's capital?
The nation's capital. White people ain't even scared of nooses like that.
They try to separate. It's just the anti-blackness is.
And then, and then shout out to T.S. Madison. I just got out. I literally was on my phone. T.S. Madison showed a video with 2 white men on the nation's Capitol steps reenacting the George Floyd murder. White man literally laid down on the steps. Another white man put his knee on his neck, and they laughed.
How?
The spectacle. It's the spectacle. That is what white privilege look like. That, like, to mock, like, think about it. You're mocking what was considered a tragedy, right? You're mocking a tragedy while you're literally committing treason by storming Congress.
In the name of the country that you love.
In the name of while you're wearing the fucking flag, you're committing treason.
Bruh.
What sense does that make? Not to mention how Trump supporters have no clue. Like, anybody that looks up like flag maintenance, there's an entire code associated with how what you're supposed to do to respect the American flag, right? Man, these people have no. It's the hypocrisy. It's not just about how they treat black people. They don't even understand. They don't even understand how they supposed to respect their own culture. And this is why we say white people ain't got no culture. This is why we say it. You don't even respect your own shit. Oh, this is supposed to be sacred fucking ground. Remember, it's only terrorists who storm the fucking government. But all it takes is one celebrity millionaire. All it takes is one celebrity millionaire, and terrorism ain't terrorism no more.
All of a sudden,
it's upset citizens.
Know what it is.
Let's stop. But
one of the images that I think is gonna stay sizzled in my mind. 2 images for today that I'll never forget. They was busting people's asses for stealing out of Targets and shit. But that white man took that picture with that podium, smiling big. Y'all know what picture I'm talking about?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
that shit blew my mind. This my man's right here, just in case y'all ain't see it. Whole podium, man.
The whole podium. It reminded me of when niggas is stealing boxes of shoes, and they like, what do you need? It's stealing those boxes of shoes gonna bring their life back. Hey, it's stealing that podium gonna make Donald Trump win the election or whatever.
What's more, about? Like what's more fucked up, right? What's more fucked up? Like running up in a CVS or standing on the floor of Congress flipping off cameras. Like what's really more unpatriotic?
Or looting the state Capitol building. What's worse, looting CVS or looting the state Capitol building?
Like, come on.
The second image that blows my mind, which is why you can't look at me and tell me that they weren't just given free reign to go do what they wanted to do, and they weren't being taken serious. They take us overly serious, and they take them under serious. I know y'all seen the picture, and I can't pull it up right now, of old boy who had the war paint on, the flag war paint. He ain't got no shirt on, titties just out. He got like some robe on, some war robe or something, and he in the mix ready to get down for. He taking pictures everywhere. Y'all mean to tell me this man got past, got in, went to the bathroom, put on his own paint, no, he showed up like that. And y'all were like, yeah, come as close as you can, come on in. Get as close as you like to get. Would you like a tour of the place? I know y'all saw a video of them taking selfies with the police and the rioters, right? Tell me.
I seen the feet kicked up in Nancy Pelosi office. I seen the other dude holding his hands up. You know what I'm saying? Then in a Black Power fist, but like doing some other shit with his hands. And it's just like y'all. The fact y'all have photo ops in my mind, I'm thinking about this. The next level of policing makes it where there were a whole bunch of scared Black Lives Matter protesters that were scared to go home because they knew it was documented their ass was present at the protest. I wonder what's gonna happen to this white man literally got. We will be taken seriously with his foot kicked up on Nancy Pelosi. Is him or his family have to worry about the
now that wasn't Nancy Pelosi's actual office. That was a office in Nancy Pelosi's office. That wasn't Nancy Pelosi's
even worse.
Office,
even worse.
Too.
That wasn't in Conscious Lee's house. That was in his back house. The house you got to get past the house to get to.
That was in Conscious Lee's garage, like a motherfucker.
That was in his garage. That wasn't.
But speaking of pictures, as we look at our photos, all the pictures, yes.
Is that the one we talking about? Hey, Toya, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was like, look, Toya showing y'all an image. Wait till I get to the image y'all want to show.
Nigga, we've been talking about pictures, y'all. We've been talking about videos and footage.
George, check the private chat real quick. I got it pulled up. Just check the private chat real quick.
We said we was gonna ride for an hour. Yeah, we got 10 minutes left. We got 10 minutes left to vibe with y'all. We said we was gonna get in and get out with this. But as we start to round it out and they get things pulled up, one last picture too. While they getting it pulled up, I know y'all saw the picture of the white folks trying to climb over the walls. How ironic! How ironic! Those people are
climb over the wall. I thought climbing walls was bad.
I thought you weren't supposed to be places that you weren't invited or allowed. And if you're supposed to be there, just get the paperwork and go through the proper channels and you can do whatever you want. But they was jumping their asses over all types of walls. Now, outside of that, this picture.
Shout out to Tez Carter, comedian out of Kansas City. That's the fam. He said 45 minutes after taking an edible.
What is this nigga doing?
He got his red Trump hat flipped to the back. He flipped to the back though.
What is happening? Oh shit! What is happening?
Somebody said this nigga, like they was captioning it. Yes, Miko Asia. If I was a stimmy, where would I be?
Hey, please, best caption. Come on, y'all. Best captions in the chat. George, pull up some of the best captions.
Something real quick.
If I was a stimmy,
what are you doing, bro?
I think that one kind of takes it for me.
Yo, of all the time to wear a mask, not one of them had one on. Look at this picture right here. How many masks do y'all see in this photo?
In any of them. Of course, you had the chin mask.
No. Dude right there, right behind him got a mask.
Trash.
Dude right there, right behind him got a mask.
And you know what? He the media. He got a camera in his hand. He one of those liberal lamos.
Bro, my question is, how do you end up there, bro? Hey, actually ask yourself, what fraternity you think he plays? He ain't in no Divine Nine, I can tell you that.
No, that's what he is. He a SAE, Sigma Alpha Theta, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, whatever you call it.
Yeah, SAE, yeah. Hey, because we anybody who know about SAEs, just do a little bit of history on that, especially in Oklahoma. What fraternity is he in though? Like he what they call the Fiji? What
Fiji? Hey, whatever fraternity that founding father is Robert E. Lee. That's what he is. Robert Lee kind of fraternity. You feel me? He wanted to found the father of the fraternity.
I know which one you're talking about. It's like, I know.
SAE being real. I think Robert Lee might be one of the founding fathers of the SAE, but I could be wrong.
Boy. What are you doing, bro?
We got some captions. Alicia said, "Well, hell, I saw everybody else running." There we have it.
So how many of us have them friends looking at this picture?
Usagi Mimi, he said he over there savoring this white privilege, like, this is what it feels like. That's real as hell.
Yeah, bro. I listen. The fact that Kalia said, go back to Kalia's. He a member of Sigma Apple Pie.
Sigma Apple Pie. Oh,
it's straight up. Vance Hopkins. Clearly he's directed. Go ahead, click it, George.
Yeah.
Clearly he's directing the chaos. Look at how comfortable he is. Right. Because around all these wild and white folk, he just feel way too comfortable. See, this is what happens when you grow up in them communities and it's really just you. This is what the sunken place really look like. It don't look like being hypnotized to take your brain out your body.
To me, it's just like he has no mind what's going on. He just chilling. Like
I'm with Mickey. I want to know why is Cole so tight? Like when you make decisions, like I don't trust your judgment in the first place. You start looking for signs to be like, yeah, this not the person I'm looking for good judgment.
Right. I mean, but at the same time,
somebody said JC said free Bobby bitch. Y'all be like, man, but listen, if these motherfuckers don't go to jail for what they did, Bobby Shmurda should get out early.
What? Right. Right. Because anywhere else, motherfuckers would be on the chopping block for shit like this.
Hey, somebody said, hey, yo, Kanye.
Look, that's what we looking for. He's like, Kanye said we was gonna be here. Nah. Oh, the other breaking news was my wife was telling me Kanye is actually dating somebody else and him and Kim Kardashian again. But I was like, that ain't we don't care about that. But yeah, that's the point.
I seen that shit. They was like, yeah, we'll get back to you in a second.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
right.
All that Kanye shit, because I mean, the Kanye. But that's we'll let y'all go to the entertainment bloggers for that. We ain't gonna go too far down that road, because the whole Jeffree Star, the whole Kanye West and Jeffree Star have apparently been hanging out since like 2011. That's wild.
I don't know who Jeffree Star is.
Jeffree Star, you should Google Jeffree Star.
Definitely Google Jeffree Star.
It will blow your mind. It will blow your mind for the night. But then we also looked at, I guess Kim Kardashian's supposed to be cheating too. This divorce is supposed to be underway.
Okay.
For the last, I guess, 2 Halloweens, they've been taking Halloween photos, but Kanye is always in a costume. So that niggas is like, that was not Kanye. And it's just been an impersonator sticking in for a whole bunch of stuff. So a lot of us weird shit. We don't want to.
Yeah. But right. But that's for another episode. Right. But that's what happened though. Kanye got caught up in some proceedings and he left this nigga hanging. That's all that was.
Rough.
Wild. Yeah. So definitely this is what the sunken place looked like.
I'll find his ass first too. That's the sad part about it.
You said what?
They're gonna find his ass first.
I'm a mama.
Oh yeah, he gonna be the first nigga arrested.
Wrapped up
for insurrection.
Right, and then look how lazy. Because even if you look past dude, look at dude in the back.
Which one?
Like the dude on his phone.
Yeah.
Like bro, y'all like this is who y'all allowing. They not even caring where they at. They on their phone. Niggas is on Snapchat, Instagram. You know what I'm saying? They popping right now. On the house, not even tripping off the fact that in most places, nigga, like that's like you getting hung for shit like this.
I'm tweaking.
Like you get hung for shit like this, bro. So the shit is ridiculous. But I mean, that I feel like that's the image of the night for me. Out of everything else, like dude is like that's the dude where it was like, yo, yeah. Yeah, like damn, bro. I mean, you had to be basking in some type of privilege because you know, like Toya said, it was a loss of life there, and the fact that it wasn't the lone brother clearly standing in the spotlight, that say something.
Definitely.
That says something.
That because he was in the auditorium part. Shorty that got popped. She was in like a little short, a little closed area. You know what I'm saying? Like
they said something like they were telling them to back down or get down, and she had like
lunged
or moved forward like toward a window or something like that was open, and they just went ahead and shot her in the neck. And they said she was acting like she was okay. She was like, I'm okay. But while she was trying to say she was okay, she started bleeding profusely, including from her mouth. And then that's when it started to go down from there. So
that's wild. Yeah, man.
History was made.
One of the last thing I want to touch on, before we close out, did y'all hear Trump's response? Did y'all hear like how he reached out?
Yeah, I heard it.
What y'all think about how he reached out? Like what he caught?
He said, we know they stole this election from us. They hijacked it. They started stealing. Even they know they stole it from us. But we have to be peaceful. We can't So I'm gonna say some shit to justify you being violent, but then tell you not to be violent. Come on, man.
And I think that's or Toya, go ahead.
I haven't listened to any official Trump statements. I've only read explanations of the things that he said, so I'm not really sure. I ain't listening to that nigga talk about this shit.
Yeah, because I feel like what make it so bad. I think that's what sparked the whole him getting suspended. You know what I'm saying? Because
like y'all getting out of hand. You're not gonna use my medium to be able to incite. You know what I'm saying? Shit, domestic violence.
Yeah, and
terrorism. I should say.
What made it so bad is he spent, like, if you count, like, you know, the time in which he spent talking about whatever, he spent the majority of his conversation replaying a lot of the bullshit that's already been disproven. I mean, because it's always important to know how bad he's lying. Donald Trump supporters, Trump lawyers have all had the opportunity to prove their case in court. They've had that. They've had the opportunity to challenge the election by presenting the fraud. They have not done so.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Donald Trump has presented no proof of fraud. We know what fraud is like. Republicans been doing it for
a mighty long time.
You know what I mean? We know what it's like to really attempt to fuck up an election, but on our end, it's by disenfranchisement. You know what I mean? Infringing upon constitutionally granted rights, that type of shit. That's why y'all trying to get away with some shit that y'all been doing. It don't look good, bro. Like it's one thing to let a nigga get away with being a criminal, but it's then when they trying to rob you. It's like, nah, bro. Like, no, we know what you do. Like, I'm not gonna let you in my house. I'm not gonna let you hold my wallet, but you can get away with it how you get away with it. That's the wild shit about it. But I couldn't leave out without touching on that. Also, there was this conversation of that preparedness. I wanted to get y'all thoughts on not wanting. There was a conversation in terms of deploying the National Guard and really using military force to keep them out, push them out, and keep them out a lot sooner. And I think they announcing the vote right now.
I'm watching the news right now on my phone. Like, man, I'm ready to eat me some food now and catch up what's going on. Shout out to the Chop Nation. Shout out to the Conscious Cohort. Shit getting crazy.
Yeah. They announcing Donald Trump. But the last thing, they said they not wanting to be a martyr. They didn't want to martyr any of those protesters. Do you think they would do us a favor by not wanting to martyr us either, like a motherfucker? Do you is that something that, you know what I'm saying? Like, why don't y'all think that, like, they think we want to be martyrs anyway? Like, we don't, because like we don't put ourselves in harm's way like that, like for the purposes that they do, right? But we end up being martyred consistently. People get jailed, people get beat the fuck up, right? But they don't want to martyr these individuals.
But I feel like the concept of, like, how I'm picking up when you say martyr, it's always situated in terms of civility and humanity. Niggas can't be martyrs because our lives are not situated around being civil and humanity. We are incivil and unhuman. And I think that I feel like that don't cross their mind when we get killed by the police or when we rioting or when we rallying or protesting. The idea of one of our deaths making it where somebody gonna feel empowered or some shit, I don't think that's really a thing that crossed their mind because they don't see our humanity like that.
Well, actually, look at it, I think, different than both of you in the sense that I think martyrdom is not something that the person who is perpetuating the violence looks to bestow upon anybody. It's not. But martyrdom happens from the people that person represented. They say this person died on it. And in a lot of ways, because this is the back and forth we get into about the people who died, for example, our right to vote. They are not. Right, they go out there saying, I'm willing to die for this shit. They was out there trying to get some rights. They wanted to live to see the fruition of all the labor and the work that they did, to go in and cast their ballots, to be a part. They didn't go into it saying, I'm going to protest in Birmingham and in Atlanta and in the South or whatever because I want to die. You can come and kill me. Some of them probably did in the name of the cause, but a lot of them were fighting for rights that they wanted to actualize. And that's because we didn't understand as much about humanity and the lack thereof that we did now. They were trying to fight for a humanity that was never going to be given to them. So in that sense, even those were not martyrs. Those were people who were killed and murdered for the sake of their rights. Martyrs are people who say, I'm about to go out here and I'm understanding, conscious, and culture.
Give me liberty or give me death.
You know what I'm saying? I've come to terms with the fact that I might not live through this shit, and I'm happy with that because I'm here to die for my shit. And then the people who they represent understand it. So let's not even give our oppressors the ability to bestow martyrdom or not, because that's not their lane. It's not their jurisdiction.
Yo, and yeah, that's crazy, because I also want to point out that even amongst like the Black revolutionary tradition, we don't consider ourselves martyrs. It was like what Huey P. Newton referred to as revolutionary suicide. And that was engaging in a resistance that would produce a freedom that you wouldn't be able to benefit from, which is, I think, is uniquely different from how we understand martyrdom. But we have been on here for an hour, so George, you can go ahead and close this out, bro.
Yeah, man. In closing, Huey P. Newton told us that we gotta think globally and act locally. You feel me? So I know a lot of us is kind of, I feel like, got our head up America ass in terms of this disarray, this chaos that's going on. There are a lot of other quote unquote colonizing developed countries that are developed as a result of colonialism, that are also experiencing this same type of chaos, this same type of disarray in terms of people are getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what we see is that there are literally two groups damn in every country that are sick and tired of being sick and tired for different reasons. How we gonna end this though is when you thinking globally and you acting locally, think about how what's happening abroad internationally. If you connect the dots, how it makes what happens in America matter, and how what happens down the street from where you stay at, how it's significant based off what's going on everywhere, you know what I'm saying, around us. You feel me? Because we can't get our heads stuck in the American box, so we don't recognize that we talking about coups. Shit, our American government used our tax dollars to goddamn fund a whole coup in Chile a few months ago. You know what I'm saying? So we see that civility and see that, you know, being able to do something legitimately or illegitimately, we see that they get to pick and choose that shit. Going back to what Toy was getting to, our expert in terms of communication and rhetoric. We see that language is important, and that when it comes to reality, most of the times, the way that we are able to deploy language is going to shape the realities that we try to talk to and talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Actual.
And that's really that's me. Toya, what's your give us some expertise rhetoric shit? Because in my mind, I'm thinking about rhetoric. It's the man I'm thinking about. Right? I'm thinking of language, rhetoric, how they are characterizing shit, and how they not characterizing certain shit, and how the language gets to justify who gets what, when, where, and how.
I mean, I think the biggest kind of cementer of language, while we're here to debate and mediate and talk about language and what it means and what it doesn't mean on the Chop Up and Fox and ABC and this, that, and the other. You know, I think I just read a tweet that was like history class in about 15 years. AP government, AP US government finna be lit as hell by the time they get up in that shit, right? And so that's when the language is really gonna matter. This is why it's important that, you know, while we have experiences like this, it's important that we fight the good fight of people trying to do shit like change textbooks and make sure that they're historically accurate or whatever. Moments like this make moments like that and moves and pushes and drive like that all the more important, because when we go back to rehistoricize this, when they tell the story of how this moment came to a head, let the record show that this moment came to a head all because we voted for the 44th president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama.
That's where it came from. This is the reverberations of that.
Man, in 2008. Yeah. We've been on a trajectory since then. So it's going to take the appropriate, the correct, the accurate historicization.
Throw them foes up, man.
Later, when we're not here to go back and I can't go fight with you in your history class, but these history teachers, these textbook creators, that's who's going to be responsible for getting the narrative right.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is I also want to say shout out to Solar Vision Debate League. We supposed to have my boy Solarmine on, but I didn't send him the link, so that was my fault. But we go fuck with the boy, holla at him mainly. But if y'all want to check out some educational debates, some spiritual debates, religious debates, go to Solar Vision Debate League to check that out. But in terms of what's happening right now, one of the funniest tweets that I saw, or not tweets, because I ain't even on Twitter. I will be soon though. Is it on TikTok? It was a TikTok where the dude was like, "How y'all on the wrong side of history?" You know what I'm saying? While it's happening, you feel me? It's like an open book test, and you failing. You feel me? Like, and that's what's happening right now. Like Donald Trump supporters are not going to be favored in history. Nobody's going to look back and say this was a significant moment for any significant movement. This is an embarrassment.
It's right? Called Solar Debate Channel. Solar Debate. Somebody says Solar. It's called Solar, right? SOLAR.
Solar. Yes. Solar Vision. Yeah. SOLARVISION. Yeah. Solar Vision Debate League on YouTube. Y'all check that out. But this ain't gonna end well. This ain't gonna look good. This is a stain on white folk. Like we've been saying consistently, this is white on white violence. This is them going back and forth with each other, except that the one brother in the bubble jacket. But other than that, you feel me? That's what it is. So you know, we could go ahead and close this out laughing. This is the white supremacy can't sustain, you know, its foundation.
He hell.
Hey, we love y'all. We thank y'all for tapping into us. Two things before we go. One, we had a show on Monday, this past Monday, just 2 days ago, that talked about the election that we just went through and all the ups and downs of that. We talked about Black bisexual men and their dating issues. You might be interested in that. And then we also talked about the political chop and really sold together a lot of just what's happening right now. So do not miss. Oh, yeah. And then we had a conversation about the new year. It's still kind of early. Remember, we said we kind of still in December.
Hey, y'all remember, today is day 6.
December 34th. Today is December 37th, 2020. Now, but we fighting. Either way it goes, y'all go check out the old episodes. They are up if you want to watch them on YouTube and on Facebook.
Hit that like button.
Hit like and subscribe while you're there. But if you want to listen, they on Apple Podcasts and Spotify too. So hit like and subscribe over there and make sure y'all listen to everything. Melvin is going off in the comments telling y'all to follow up with us because he knows what's good. Now, next Monday, because we go live every Monday. We record every single Monday. Thank you, Noel. We love you. Every single Monday we go live. This Monday, I'm going to bring a guest. Her name is Mercy, and we're going to talk about domestic violence. I know y'all seen Fabulous. Out here trying to show Emily so much love here lately. The man, 43 years old, done punched the teeth out, done...
I ain't know nothing about that. Y'all going to catch me up. I ain't know nothing about that.
Did that.
Okay. And so now all of a sudden he gets on Instagram with this huge declaration of love. And so we're going to unpack some of the messiness. And Mercy's lane is domestic violence. She's doing some great things out of New York. So I want her to come on so we have a little conversation about how these things are playing out, how to understand and situationalize them. Because even though Fabulous is one particular case study, we know that DV is prevalent not only in heterosexual relationships but homosexual relationships. It's a component of adult relationships and maturation. So we don't want y'all to miss that, but that's just one of the many things we're going to talk about. Lee going to have something, Plug going to have something. We're going to talk Monday night. 7:30 Central, 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central.
9:30 Central, man.
7:30 Pacific, Cali time, 9:30 Central. Tap in. Lock in with us. We love y'all. We hope we got new listeners and new participants and new Chop Nation
subscribers. Make sure y'all subscribe. You subscribe to the subscribe to the Chop.
Y'all should bring a friend to the date. Goddamn, we gonna be dropping some jewels. You should bring a friend. Tell a friend. Either send them the link.
Oh, hold on. Stop. We cannot leave without congratulating my boy.
Yeah.
Consciously hitting the 1 mil.
Yeah.
Consciously hit the 1 mil on TikTok today.
Yeah.
The milli, you feel me? To get 1 million followers on any fucking platform, bro,
wow.
it means something. You know what I mean? And for you to get 1 million on like the fastest up and coming platform, you feel me, on TikTok, that's big. That's big. And I told you, damn, where my drink at? I told you I was gonna take a shot, but I've been drinking throughout the show, so we could just consider that the shot. So we couldn't leave without congratulating my boy. 1 mil in the milli category. Shout out to all of the followers. Yeah, you know what I mean, like we about to keep it pushing.
Y'all help the Chop Up Show get to 1 million now, y'all. Y'all need
help Chop Up Show go to 1 million.
Y'all can't give all y'all love to Beyonce. Y'all can't give all y'all love to Beyonce.
Not Beyonce. Stop calling me Beyonce. I don't.
What we saying? Like,
yeah. Hey, but he know what's up. But we gonna go ahead and close it out. Y'all know we gotta close it out. How we open it up with the outro, intro, slash. You know what I mean? We get it in. It's the Chop Up. We holla at y'all.
Monday.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside and that's in the console. Keep this.